Morning and welcome to this meeting of the Licensing Subcommittee. I am Alice Aubrey from Democratic Services. The subcommittee today is made up of councillors James Giles, Anne Owen and Ty Allen. The first item of business is the appointment of a chair. Please could I ask subcommittee members to nominate a chair?
Yeah, I would like to nominate Councillor Giles.
Is that agreed, Councillor Owen? Agreed. Lovely. Thank you. Councillor Giles, you're in the chair.
Thank you, and thank you, colleagues. Welcome to this meeting of the Licensing Subcommittee. As Alice has said, my name is Councillor James Giles. I'll be chairing today's meeting. This meeting is being broadcast live, recorded, and will be made available on the Council's YouTube channel. The agenda is available on the Council's website by following the links to your Council and then the Council meeting calendar, where you will find this meeting on today's date. The quorum for this meeting is 3 members, and all of us will have to be present at all times. If any subcommittee member or the legal advisor loses connection, I will pause the meeting to allow them to rejoin as soon as possible. That doesn't often happen, but it's a possibility. To reduce feedback, can everyone please mute their microphone when they're not speaking? And I can see everyone's already done that, which is fantastic. After the subcommittee has heard the submission, I will ask if members have any questions. Members can also indicate they wish to speak by raising their hand, but I'd ask that they don't use the chat function because I won't be able to read it. So don't use that to ask to speak. Please also don't use it to ask questions of officers or members. Finally, all meeting participants on the call will be able to see what's entered in the chat. So to sum that up in short, please just don't use the chat function. Please also keep mobile phones in silent mode or switched off during the meeting. We're joined today, in addition to the 3 councillors, by Paul Greeno, our legal advisor, Nikki Bentley, our licensing officer, Dr. Jishantham Raghunathan, representing the applicant, forgive my pronunciation, PS Jeremy Weston, PC Lee Hopkins, and their barrister, Mr. Geoffrey Chu from the Metropolitan Police, and Alice Aubrey from Democratic Services, who opened the meeting. Does any member of the subcommittee have a pecuniary interest, non-registrable interest, or other registrable interest to declare in relation to the 2 applications today? Councillor Tylan?
None.
Councillor Owen? No, and I don't either. Thank you very much indeed. The parties have already been notified of the usual procedures for licensing hearings, as set out on pages 3 to 5 of the agenda. Paragraph 57 deals with notification of the decision. This will firstly be confirmed by email later today, and the full details and reasons for our decision will follow within 5 working days. Can I ask if there are any objections from the applicant or the objectors to proceeding on the basis of those procedures? I'm not seeing anybody raise their hand, so I'm going to take that as agreed. So we're here today discussing an application for a variation of a premises licence under the Licensing Act 2003 for JL Enterprises on the Malden Road in New Malden Village Ward. It's found in Appendix A of the agenda pack. So I'm first going to call on Nikki Bentley, who's the licensing officer, to introduce the report on the application. Over to you, Nikki. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. As we've just heard, this application for a full variation to a premises licence relates to JL Enterprises 128 Malden Road, New Malden, KT3 6DD. The application was made on the 7th of October 2025 by Mr. Raghunathan. The application seeks a variation to the existing premises licence to extend the terminal hour for the off-sale of alcohol until 1 AM every day, and to update the floor plan attached to the licence following a change to the internal layout of the premises, including the relocation of the alcohol display. Relevant pages of the application form are attached to Annex 1, and a copy of the current premises licence in place is attached as Annex 2. A table showing the proposed change of hours are laid out for you in Annex 3. The operating schedule submitted by the applicant is included in Annex 4. They are not proposing to change any existing conditions to their current licence, And you will see that the applicant has proposed an additional condition relating to the display of alcohol. I confirm that the applicant has advertised the application by way of public notice displayed at the premises and in a local newspaper, and it's also been made available on the council's website for the full consultation period. All responsible authorities received a copy of the application. A representation was received from the Metropolitan Police in relation to the prevention of crime and disorder and the prevention of public nuisance licensing objectives. A copy of the representation is attached in Annex 5. Late material was submitted, and this is attached in Annex 6, and a further email in relation to this representation was received from the Met Police last week, and this has been sent to all parties by Democratic Services. In accordance with the Council's licensing policy, 114 addresses were consulted in writing and informed that an application had been received. 2 valid representations were received from other persons, and these representations make reference to matters that relate to the prevention of crime and disorder, the prevention of public nuisance, and the public safety licensing objectives. And copies of these representations are attached for you in Annex 7. A map showing the approximate location of the premises is attached in Annex 8, and some photographs are attached in Annex 9. In considering this report, you are required to take into account the Secretary of State's guidance issued under Section 182 of the Licensing Act 2003, our licensing policy, and the licensing objectives. The Council's licensing policy was reviewed in July 2021, and it now includes some guidelines on licensing hours and trading hours. And these guideline hours are included within Annex 10. You are asked to determine the application having regard to the representations received and any evidence heard at the hearing in line with the options set out in paragraph 16 of the licensing report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed. Councillor Tylan, do you have any questions for the licensing officer? No. Councillor Owen, do you have any questions? No, and neither do I either. So thank you very much indeed, Nikki. I'm now going to call on Dr. Raghunathan to give a summary of the application. You have up to 5 minutes to present your submission. Alice will advise you when you have 1 minute left, if indeed you're still speaking, and then again when your time is up. So if you would like to unmute yourself and turn on your camera, I'd be most grateful. Okay, the floor's yours.
Sorry, I think I dropped out a little bit. Could you repeat that last bit?
Yeah, so you now have up to 5 minutes to make your submission, so you can speak in support of the application, so why you've made it, addressing any of the comments that have been made. It's your time. You've got 5 minutes to use how you see fit.
Fine. So I'm here representing my father, who runs the business as a sole trader. We've been at this premises since 2009. We've had previous interactions with the licensing team about having everything sorted. We took over the business with further conditions, which we've spoken to the council about, and had amendments over the years. In regards to what we've applied for is 2 things. One is for the change of a layout. This is essentially just to help boost sales to start with, so that there's more visibility. But also where the till is at the moment, if you've been to the store, and where the alcohol sections are, it's not in direct line of our site. So we'd like to move it so that the alcohol is behind sort of a secure area, as well as visible to us and to the customers in a more clearer way. In regards to the variation of time, we're currently open till 11, but as we know that sales can go on till a bit later, we have the staffing capabilities. We'd like to get permission to extend our opening hours to allow for more sales, really. We've had some feedback from the Met Police regarding their visit. Unfortunately, at the time of their visit, we did have issues with our CCTV system, which has been sort of corrected, and cameras are up and running. There was also some representation from the local community about their concerns. Unfortunately, their concerns are related to sort of the use of alcohol on site, which is secondary to the pub that we have down the road. Their services are causing problems as opposed to customers that buy alcohol and go home. that's it really.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Councillor Owen, do you have any questions?
I just wanted to clarify one thing. You said the pub that we have down the road, but you don't mean that it's your pub. You mean that there is a pub down the road.
No, it's not our pub. I'm just
Okay.
referring to a local pub is about 100 meters down the road from where our shop is located.
Just wanted to check. Thank you.
Councillor Tyland, do you have any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. In respect to the police inspection last month on the 14th of October, they found several breaches. I know you mentioned CCTV, which has been fixed now. I think one of the other issue is the refresher training of the staff. Has that been resolved?
Yes, that's been corrected. We have a new training booklet for the store with all of the up-to-date Challenge 25 and all the guidelines on fireworks and all of these things. We don't sell fireworks, but essentially covering the breadth of legality about sales with planned 6-month refresher courses already inbuilt into the booklet, as it were, which we've now established. All the current working staff have been trained and they've signed and done their questionnaires to make sure that they're aware, and it's the skills have been tested as well.
Okay, I think one of the requirement on the conditions is that you have extra staff during the school, the opening and the closing hours. Is that something that you have in place?
We do. We have, so we during closing hours and school times, although to be honest with you, speaking, business has gone down so much that we don't actually need those staff, but we still do have 2 members of staff that float around. It's not really needed if you look at our sales, unfortunately, but we are still following those. Just to mention, I think the next thing that I forgot to mention to you from the police was the sale of the alcohol over 6%. I might as well clarify that while I've got your time. When they came over, they found some single cans, apologies. They came to the till, they checked against our till system. We don't sell single cans. They are supplied to us by manufacturers as singles, but we sell them as 4-packs, which is with our license. If you scan the till, they go through as 4-pack and it's priced as a 4-pack.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Can I just jump in to follow up on that topic? Because obviously the photographs that the police have shown show that if take, for instance, the Karpacki lagers, that you can pick them up as single cans from the shelf. So, I mean, I appreciate what you're saying about the fact that if you scan one, it will possibly charge you for 4 cans. But in terms of actually now customers picking those items up off the shelves, are they now in cohesive 4-packs? I mean, I don't particularly care how they're packaged, even if it's just with tape, but are they now in you can only pick up 4s as opposed to being able to pick up singles?
They're not packaged in any way because we basically get them from the warehouses in a big box that come as single cans. We have signs that say they're available in 4-pack as opposed to any particular packaging. Tape is an option that I've never considered before, but I'm willing to take on. It's actually quite a simple but effective idea, I guess, and it is something that we're willing to take on. It's just never crossed our mind. We have signage. Our staff know that they're not allowed to sell, and obviously as it goes to the till, it's made clear that it's a 4-pack and not a single item. But you know, tape works, I guess. I've never really thought of it, but I'm willing to implement that if that will ease the team.
Okay, understood. And then just one more before I go back to Councillor Owen, if I may. I just want to ask then finally, I think the last item in the police's report specified that the licence that was on display in the shop was out of date. And so I wonder whether you've had the opportunity to refresh that licence.
Yes, I got sent this is the alcohol licence.
Yes.
Yes, I believe I was sent the new one with the corrected information, which was now displayed.
Thank you. Councillor Owen.
Thank you, Councillor Giles. I wanted to check because you said that you wanted your alcohol in more line of sight. Does that mean that you have had problems with people kind of stealing so that you want it to kind of be more visible?
We've not had any major issues of anyone stealing. We have the neighborhood troublemakers, as it were, but we've been there so long, we can spot them quite a mile away. My dad's been in the business and he basically works there, majority of the time. He knows the locals. We've been there since 2009, so, we've been there a long time through COVID and all. But what it is we have lots of alcohol that's, because the layout of the shop, actual structure, is tucked away in the corners. And we can't see that. And there's often, stock that's there that no one really sees, because you walk into the store, you see the sweets, you see the crisps, the alcohol gets tucked away to the side, which is why we were hoping to relocate it. So it's right in front of you as you walk in for customers, and for us as well, it's right there where the till will go on the opposite side now.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Tyler.
Thank you, Chair. The objectors mentioned about antisocial behaviour outside the premises. Has there been a problem in the past, antisocial behaviour currently? I haven't seen anything on the police report either. But...
So I actually had a bit of questions about that statement, because from my perspective, it felt a little bit irrelevant, because yes, a member of the public was there, but there's no reason to suspect that he was waiting to get into my shop. And that bus stand is a bus stand, and people spend, it's a bit of a random connection to the business. Yes, they were there, but is it really related to us? And from our perspective, we've never really had much in terms of public nuisance. You get the oddball that rocks up every now and then, but that's part of running a business, and it's never really escalated to anything. We've never had to have the police out or any major incidences. Things happen. We've been there since 2009, but we've never had any major incidences. I think we've got a fairly good bond with the local police team, and never really had any issues there.
Okay, so apart from the recent inspection, was there any previous inspection or previous issues?
No, there was no previous issues. What I meant by that was, going back a few years, I'm not sure if you're aware, there was a local police station down the road from us. There was a substation, and we used to get a lot of your officers that used to come in. They used to use our microwave. They used to, before that was open, and you had the station down the road, by the station, we used to get police officers in our shop. We used to give them the back room where they could take a break or they could heat their foods up. So we used to have a really good bond with them when they were more available to us and closer to us. That's what I meant. We know them quite, like Michael and Lucy, who I think have now all, they were constables when they started. I don't know where they are now, but all of these people we have good bonds with, just because of the fact that they were so close and they used to come to our store to use our services. But that's what I meant. We've never had to, raise concerns or anything like that.
Thank you.
Can I just follow on before bringing in Councillor Owen on that? Just to ask, obviously, you're right, the Safer Neighbourhood team for New Malden Village has undergone a period of change from a police perspective. And so do you see police in the area regularly? Not necessarily in your shop, but in the vicinity? One of the concerns that people have raised is around the possible increase of crime. And so from a visibility perspective, how visible are the police in your perspective now?
For us, the biggest change is the fact that we don't get the officers that used to come to us. And that is a simple location business, because you go from seeing them every day, twice a day, to now, yes, they are around, but obviously not as much as we're used to. But that's more of a logistical thing on the police side. From a crime perspective, I've not noticed any increase in rowdiness or in any sort of what's the word I'm looking for, antisocial behaviour in the area that's particularly changed over the last few years.
And I'm not trying to catch you out in any way, shape or form, because I wouldn't necessarily know the answer myself, but do you know the names of the local Safer Neighbourhood team these days?
I'll be very honest with you, I myself don't. My father might.
Understood, thanks. Councillor Owen.
Thanks, Councillor Giles. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry to hear that your business is is going down, and I have a couple of questions. One is, do you have particularly busy times during the day? What's the pattern of footfall in the business. So, you know, does it increase when the pubs are getting close to closing, or, you know, is it really busy when the kids come out of school? Is there a pattern to your footfall?
So the pattern has dramatically changed, let's say, since just before COVID to now. Before COVID, we had a very steady pattern of busy in the mornings, quietens down, busy at like end of school time, 3-4 o'clock, quietens down, and then in the evenings you get a bit more customers. Nowadays it tends to be quiet pretty much consistently with random peaks, and most of our peaks are from sales from our parcel business that we have. So we have an every courier set, you know, like a drop off a service. That tends to be the predominance of our footfall. It's those customers that then come and do their shopping, as opposed to what we saw before, where we'd get like an influx of 50 kids that come in at random time. We don't see that as much. Most of our customer footfall is through the slightly older, you know, clientele, where they're coming in to send their parcels or collect their parcels, and then we get sales through them.
Okay, right, thank you. And my second question was, how much are you in the business full time? So you spend a lot of your time in the day in the business, so you do see all the patterns and trends.
I physically don't spend a lot of time in the shop, but I help because it's my dad who does the shop. I am there to deal with the numbers and help with stock, and so I know what's happening in the shop quite well. I've been with Dad since 2009. I used to be in the shop a lot more, but I now have a full-time job working as a doctor, so I've had to come away from the shop, to be honest with you. But I'm well aware of the shop trends because I help Dad. It's a family business,
yeah,
as it were. So
okay, lovely, thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. We're going to move on now, if I may, to the responsible authorities. As set out in the report, all responsible authorities received a copy of the application, and a representation was received from the Metropolitan Police. There are 3 people from the Met on the call today. Between you will have up to 5 minutes to speak. Alice will advise you if you're still going when you have 1 minute left, and then indeed when your time is up. So I don't know how you want to divvy it up. I'm presuming it'll probably be Mr. Chu for the most part. But between the 3 of you, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I propose I will just make our submissions, but Officer Weston and Officer Hopkins are on hand. I think they'll be much more effective during the if you have any questions for them, if that's all right with you, Chair. Just to confirm our position, we oppose the application to extend the terminal hour for the sale of alcohol on every day of the week. But following that email sent last Wednesday on the 3rd of December, we no longer maintain any objection to the changes to store layout, and indeed we commend the applicant's explanation as to why these changes have been made. The subcommittee will have read the police's representations at Annex 5, and I'm not going to repeat everything that's said there, but just to highlight a few key points and address anything that's come up during this meeting. You're being asked to consider an application to extend the off-sale hours for 2 hours from 11 o'clock to 1 a.m. That takes us outside the core hours of Kingston's licensing policy, in respect to a premises that for most days of the week already operates on the limit of those core hours. The question is whether there are any factors that suggest they should be allowed to depart from that policy. I can be quite brief with our representations, really just to flag 2 key points for the committee to consider. The first point is the significance of that 11 o'clock cutoff, and that's well recognized in your licensing policy. It's paragraph, if you want to take a note, paragraph 73 observes that in the area, ambient noise falls off from 11 o'clock onwards, after which noise disturbance can become an issue. And in this case, noise can come from inside a premises, which are something that's controllable, or from revelers in the street, which are not controllable. And really, paragraph 74 of your policy is the key consideration here. Stores such as this one can act as a magnet for people leaving other licensed premises to top up their consumption. And so there's a clear rationale that exists for that time limit set out in policy. Allowing the store to operate until 1 o'clock is in effect to grant a mandate to target a certain type of clientele that purposefully seeks out late night alcohol after 11 o'clock. And we say that's exactly what would happen in this case. There is, as we've already touched on, a Wetherspoons on the other side of the roundabout, very near this off license. That closes at midnight. And it would be wrong to ignore the potential link in activity between the two. It's not difficult to see the obvious destination for people leaving the Wetherspoons who are looking for some more drink, while their destination would be this off license if the extension is granted. And policing experience tells us that the type of client that looks for alcohol between 11 and 1 is more likely to be associated with antisocial behavior or even violence. You'll note the representations made by local residents. I won't repeat them. As the policy notes, this is the type of disorder and nuisance that takes place exactly on the street, either before or after an off sale has taken place. It falls outside basically what the applicant can control because it's on the street, and the only way to control it is by limiting the hours. You've heard the applicant say there's been no major issues, no problems throughout their time here, and we say the correct inference to draw from this is that that 11 o'clock cutoff is working, it's doing what it's supposed to do. There's no guarantee that by adding on 2 extra hours every night until 1 a.m., the profile of crime and public nuisance won't change. And so that's the first point I make is to emphasize the relevance of that policy core hour. The second point, I probably only have 1 minute left, is to say, even if you decide an exception can be made to permit leaving the policy behind, it shouldn't be made for this particular store. We've heard from the applicant and their explanation for the inspection. I think the gist is that there's an acceptance that the breaches were made out, and the fact of the matter, what we have here is a store that's quite recently been found to have fallen short of its license conditions. These are you can read these in full in Annex 6. There's that point about the CCTV not working, and to date we know that no CCTV has ever been successfully provided by the applicant. There's that point made about the drinks being sold above the licensed alcohol content, and it's bit of artificiality here, but I think the position today is that the breach that was found during the inspection, no remedial action was actually taken as to that breach. I don't think anything actually was done about it, notwithstanding the explanation that's been given. And so I will wrap up there just to say that this is a business that has failed to meet its current conditions, and yet it's come here today asking for more trading hours, across 14 extra hours across the week. And we say the applicant is not yet, well, it's not the type of, it hasn't come close to being trusted with this sort of responsibility yet. So members, thank you for your time.
Thanks very much. Councillor Owen, have you got any questions for the Met Police? Councillor Tyler?
Thank you, Chair. Mentioned antisocial behaviour. Has there been any previous record of incidents in that area around near the shop?
No, there are no recorded ASB incidents. However, the basis of my objection is the anticipation of such behaviour and incidents.
Okay, I mean the nearby Wetherspoon closes at midnight, so that hasn't caused any issues either. And has there any previous record of that incidents related to the shop in the past?
No, not to the shop.
Okay.
But going back to the Wetherspoons, yes, incidents occur in house there, but ASB wise, no.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Owen.
Sorry, I had a little blip in my internet before, but I heard everything. So has there been any incidents of ASB antisocial behaviour at the bus stop or kind of anywhere kind of on the street outside that in your records?
Not to my knowledge, no.
No.
No, not to my knowledge, no.
Okay, so can you remind me of the kind of the essence of your objection?
It's the answer. If this license was to be granted, it is the anticipation that people congregate, ASB issues will evolve. In addition to that, set a precedent for other off licenses in the New Malden area to apply, therefore creating a cumulative issue with us.
Okay, so you're concerned that if one license is granted, then it will create a whole.
That's the basis of my application. Objection.
Councillor, may I speak and add to that?
Yes, that's fine.
The point made. I think it's important to flag that, yes, to just to substantiate that anticipation point, because the off license currently shuts at 11, that's an hour before the cutoff time of the spoons. That opportunity for a client from the spoon to go from the spoons to the off license does not exist at all yet. This is entirely untested territory. I think that's an important thing to appreciate for the committee. It's not something that has remotely been tested yet. We would be entering, this is something, it's not something that we've experienced yet. It would be new.
Okay, so it's all speculation.
Can I just build on that though and just ask?
Yeah.
I appreciate that the Wetherspoons is obviously much nearer to the premises, but we do have circa 500 metres just down the Kingston road, a petrol station which was given 24-hour opening, to which the police gave no objection whatsoever. So, I mean, can I just get some views from the police on that? Because I mean, I know you say we're in untested waters, if you like, but that license was granted quite recently, actually, only a few months ago.
Morning, Chair. Can I take up a
Please.
question? Is that okay? Lee Hopkins, I'm a police licensing officer. I've been in post in Kingston now for around about 7 years and have a little bit of experience with regards to certain applications and certain decisions. As you're aware, every application has got to be made on its merit. We did object to the petrol station for several years, and then we consulted with some local residents with regards to that application. That application itself is quite some distance away from this current application, and in its very nature, it is a petrol station. It has a forecourt, and it was decided that vehicles are coming to that petrol station to pay for petrol and then to purchase alcohol, so not adding any further cumulative impact. The concern with this application in its entirety is the fact of the very nature of the ward that it's in. It is in New Malden Village. There are no other venues that will stay open that late, and the concern being is to those local residents having their sleep disturbed through antisocial behaviour, with regards to people exiting to other licensed venues, such as we've named it. It's the Wetherspoons pub is very in close proximity. Over the years, has there been any antisocial behaviour? Yes, there has. Has the police been called to the pub? Yes, they have. What for? Over intoxication levels. Fairly minor stuff, but the venue being asked to sort of, I suppose, eject people, and they're causing issues themselves through ejections. We have been called to that, and I have dealt with issues around that from that pub and other pubs as well. Where do these people then go? Well, the idea then will be they will be dispersed home. If there is a venue that's open in close proximity in the village of New Malden, they won't. They will get more alcohol. And that itself then, with regards to license objectives, creates crime, disorder and antisocial behaviour. And that is the concern here with this venue with the extended hours. I hope that sort of answers your question.
Thank you. I think that's useful. Are there any other questions from anybody before we move on? No, thanks. So, in accordance with the Council's licensing policy, 241 addresses were consulted in writing and informed that an application had been received. 4 valid representations were received from other persons, but none of them have registered to speak. I can confirm that all of the licensing subcommittee members have read the written representations. And so with that, I'll move on, please, to closing statements. So would the Met Police like to add anything further?
Just very short. I don't think there's much more to add, just to address the point that we do draw caution to saying our objection is entirely speculative. It is borne out by policing experience, and there are very good reasons for drawing the inferences that we would draw based on this being a new Malden village, based on this being near a Spoons, based on what we know about the effect of alcohol on customers and people. And we also say the points made about the operating hours still stand. They're the only way to control the impacts of an off license. And the final, I'll leave the committee with this, is just to underscore the significance of those inspection failings. Whilst you have been provided with an explanation of what has been done and why these failings took place, the fact of the matter is that there were breaches of a license, there were multiple breaches of a license condition, and you should be very cautious before allowing the applicant to rely on these rely on the points made, given the evidence that you have before you. I have nothing more to add, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed. Dr. Raghunathan, if you'd like to make any closing statement, and if you'll forgive me for adding, the Met Police in their submission made a number of comments about your record sort of post-inspection about remedial actions taken. And certainly from my perspective, I'd appreciate it if in your closing remarks, if you wanted to address any of those points. I think it would be quite useful for us.
Thank you. I mean, it's interesting to hear what everyone's had to say. Essentially, the crux of it is we are a very small family business that's been in the New Malden area for a very long time, both as business and as residents ourselves. In regards to when the inspection happened, it was misfortune that there were so many things wrong with it. In regards to multiple things about the licensing, advertising and all this, we had been in discussion with the licensing team, and they knew that I hadn't received the email. I'd literally spoken to, I think his name was Benny from the licensing team, and we'd said we'd update it, and then all of a sudden the police were already there. So there was a back and forth, but that was addressed. In regards to the sale of the alcohol, which is what the officer said, that nothing's been done about it. Essentially, the statement that we have to follow is that we can only sell 4 cans. That's what the license says, and that's what we're doing. Yes, the display has single cans, but the sale goes through as 4. We don't allow for single sales. Yes, they're stocked the way they are, but we will sell them as 4, and we will continue doing that. We can take on ways to sort of have them pre-packed, but the sale goes through as 4. And as long as we're selling 4 cans, as far as I'm concerned, yes, we are meeting the license requirements. If you come to the counter and we say and turn you back and say, no, this has to be sold as 4, it's only going to go through on the till as 4. That no one's going to pay for the price of 4 cans to take 1 can home. Our till system can only be modified by my father or the EPOS systems. You know what I mean? So it's not like the staff can just change it and sell 1. It's on the till. It goes through as 4. No one's going to pay for the price of 4 cans to get 1. We'll leave it with you guys, but yes, there are mishaps, and I'm not denying it. The CCTV system was down at the time. It's been fixed. The hard drive failed, and I've replaced it. We've got new cameras in there now, so it's working. But we are a local shop. We are a community shop, and that's what we're trying. We're trying to survive with the fact that things have been going downhill for a little while since COVID's sort of hit, and then that's all this is. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for attending. The subcommittee is going to withdraw now to make its decision, which will be confirmed to all parties by email later today. The full decision notice then sent within 5 working days. I'm going to ask that members of the subcommittee reconvene in the decision meeting straight away, if that's all right, and we can then make our decision. That concludes the public hearing. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you.